Hey everybody, this is Annie Asher and welcome to the Healthcare Entrepreneur Radio. We're so excited to have you here today. I'm here with my co-host Regan Archibald. Regan, how's it going?
Yeah, really beautiful today.
Awesome. Yeah, so for those who haven't listened to our first episode, which you should, we are here to open a conversation about medicine and shifting our mindsets into doing something a little more corrective, regenerative, merging all fields of medicine. Reagan, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I've made it my life's mission to really create the best healthcare on the planet. And so I'm really happy to talk about it today.
So as we're just getting started, I really want to focus today on all of our listeners getting to know you, Reagan. Is that cool?
I guess so. I'll try and be as open as possible.
Oh, no, we all love you, and you've been such a big pioneer in this whole movement. So just a little bit on our listeners, I want to tell you a little bit about Reagan. So he graduated with his Master's of Science in Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine at the Chinese Medical College of Hawaii. He is the founder of East West Health, which is an amazing integrative clinic in Salt Lake City, and he has 3 other locations throughout Utah. One of the first clinics in the nation, actually, to successfully integrate traditional Eastern medicine, regenerative therapies such as stem cell and functional medicine. So it's pretty awesome. So Reagan is also the founder of Go Wellness, which is a training mentorship program for some of the most transformative acupuncturists, chiros, and doctors in healthcare. So he loves doing that, and he's been a prolific writer, speaker, teacher, instructor, master of inspiration. Reagan, you're just such a cool dude. So welcome to the show as a guest.
Oh, thank you. Nice to be a guest here. Nice. Thank you for the introduction. It can only go downhill from there.
Well, let's get started. I want to know what drew you to medicine or drew you to the path in healing, because I've known you for a long time and you've got a million hilarious stories about you trying to just get into healthcare from when you were a kid. So tell me a little bit about your story and what drew you to this medicine.
Well, I think the biggest thing that drew me to it is just my own challenges of, first of all, being struggling with autoimmunity, struggling with illnesses. And then also the fact of the matter is I got into health because I needed to make the basketball team, the football team, the track teams to stay out of farm work. And so I grew up on a farm in Idaho, and it's cold in Idaho and the winters are brutal. And I'd much rather wake up early and go to basketball practice than I would to go feed the cattle. And so I had to learn how to keep myself healthy. I'm obviously 5'9", so I'm pretty short. I wasn't athletically gifted, but I work really hard. And so I was always interested in nutrition. And you've probably heard the story, but one of the basketball games that we're in high school, I fed my entire team 8 grams of vitamin C because I was doing a lot of research on it. And we all ended up with diarrhea. So everyone got taken out of the game. I mean, it was hard to keep 5 players on the court at once. My coach is like, what's going on? And then it dawned on me midway through the game, oh, I think it might be the vitamin C. But
basketball and have diarrhea?
Yeah, well, yeah, no kidding. It's you can only play for so long. Then it's so that's where I learned medicine is powerful. I saw my grandmother have Alzheimer's, so I started reading books on brain health. And I was also kind of I was a type of student in school that I didn't like homework. I went through my entire high school with no homework. When the bell would ring and all the students were going to the next class, I would finish my homework assignment and turn it in right there. So I've always kind of looked for shortcuts in learning. I've looked for shortcuts in health. And I've always thought there's a different way of doing things. I didn't realize how weird I was until I became an adult. But yeah, so I think just from an early age, getting into healthcare was a big passion of mine, and optimizing my brain performance and my physical performance has always been kind of at the heart of that. And then now helping other people do it as I got older and more mature, I realized, man, this could be a life calling of mine.
That's amazing. So you started out in your educational career and the beginning of your professional career in traditional Chinese medicine, which I know is the core of your practice in so many ways. And now you've really evolved into a lot of regenerative therapies, functional medicine, like you're a functional medicine practitioner as well. Like, where did you see that maybe just TCM wasn't quite enough, or when did you feel like you wanted to start your expansion process?
You know, to be 100% honest, it was before I ever went to Chinese medical school, Annie. I was like, when I learned about acupuncture and Chinese medicine, my very first thought was skepticism. I was like, there's no science behind it. It's bullshit. There's like, what is this chi thing, yin yang? Like, I get that. I'm like, it's a philosophy. It's not a medicine. I didn't really appreciate the depths of Chinese medicine at the onset. It took me actually experiencing it because I was just wanted to go to medical school at the University of Utah. But the thing that stopped me is I actually had a doctor who finally was able to look at my labs because I was struggling. I'm the glyphosate man. I mean, I was just loaded up with glyphosate, and in my undergraduate work, I ended up with an autoimmune disease. I had psoriasis, I had asthma, and then I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and that was like the moment when the light bulb went off. And I said, Western medicine, all they kept telling me is, Regan, your labs look good, you're fine. Like it's just because of the stress. And I knew there was something more. And then as the doctor who was working with me, she started taking a few steps back, and then we retraced my childhood. And I was like, yeah, I used to get soaked with Roundup. These planes would crop dust the fields. And she said, we got to get you detoxified, and we got to get you off gluten. And that was before gluten-free was even a thing. We barely knew about celiacs. This was 20 years ago. Yeah. And so it was my own experience where I said, I love Western medicine and the science, but I have to go and I have to find a new path. And so one of my professors at the U, Dr. Bauman, said, well, go study in Hawaii. It's a school that was founded by Earl Bakken. He's the inventor of the pacemaker. There's a great integrated program there where you can go and at the Northern Hawaii Community Hospital. It's a holistic hospital. And so I was able to do some of my internship there. And that's when the light bulb really went off. And I said, man, there's beauty in both models of medicine. And that's why I named my clinic East West Health, because I knew that it wasn't all Eastern, it couldn't all be Western. And I also have always appreciated kind of a multi-perspective when it comes to health, because it's so complex.
I love that. Yeah. And it's so true. Like, there's so many good parts of both types of medicine. So like, I love your mission and story that you've really integrated it all to move forward in healthcare. So do you want to talk a little bit about what your mission is with the way you practice medicine now?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of, a couple years ago, I drew the line in the sand and I said, we need to have some measurable outcomes, and we need to be able to track our progress with our Go Wellness community and in our East-West clinics. And so I said, we want to transform the lives of 1 million people by 2025. I said, we want to make pain and chronic disease optional. Now I say optional because people can always choose. You can give people the best tools on the planet, but they have to be the ones to take those tools, put them in their hand, learn how to use those tools, right? Yeah. And so, but I said, if I'm working as me, just individual Regan, one-on-one with the patient, no way I could accomplish that mission. Even if I'm just working within the 4 clinics that I have at East West, still no way. What I realized is I've got to have about 1,000 clinics nationwide or worldwide, and because we have Canadian clients as well. But I said, or worldwide, and then we can really pull this thing off. And if we can do it for 1 million people, why couldn't we do it for 1 billion or 2 billion? And so it's just it's something that I just really resonated with, because I've made it my mission to help people love the way they feel about their health. And I said, well, why don't we just have a tracking capability of that? So that's it.
That. No, I love that. And from a practice management standpoint, I mean, it takes a certain kind of someone to say, hey, I'm going to break the mold and I'm going to do things my way. And so you've integrated all these things, but you as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, had to have great vision for that and had to do a lot of things. So what do you think was your recipe for success in getting there and just being brave enough to break the mold and forge ahead?
Well, I'm still scared shitless, to be honest with you. I mean, every day is like a new adventure. It's a new day, and we have not accomplished that goal. But really, just from an entrepreneurial perspective, I never realized there was another option that I would be able to work for somebody, because I think it came hardwired in my DNA that, yes, I'm a healer, but I'm also an entrepreneur. And when I finally made that connection, it was about maybe 8 years into my career, when I was just like running tirelessly, just treating a bunch of patients. I had a long wait list. I mean, my wait list was averaged about 6 months for the first 6, 7, 8 years of my career. And I just realized it was no way I wanted to live. And then like this thing kicked in, and I was like, man, you're working for yourself. You've become a slave in your own clinic, and you're going to burn out, buddy. And so it was my teacher, Dr. Mayakawa, and she said, Regan, son, you got to take a step back. And she said this thing, this Japanese term, koko roseshi. And I don't know how to spell it at all, but I just know the sounds. But it means you have this heart of a knight, which means you'll put yourself in harm's way. You'll sacrifice yourself for the good of others. But she said that can only go on so long before you need to, you've got to recharge. And so that's when I started to put in kind of some business systems, and my entrepreneur hat went on. My first business was actually when I was 16. I used to work construction. Well, my dad lost a big bid. We went out of farming. He had to sell all his cattle. And I ended up doing concrete, and I said, I could do that. I just need to go and find jobs. And I knew how to bid it because the owner of that company taught me. So I started as an entrepreneur early on in my teens. And I always had the bug. And so I said, I need to just apply this to a clinical practice. And then as I started doing it, I attracted amazing people like you. And I had amazing doctors that had come on board. And then I said, this is way more fun. This is now, funner is a real word. So it's way funner than just me working one-on-one with patients. And I saw I was making a bigger impact. I was happier. It seemed always happy. Yeah. And just all these people around me were just like better taken care of. And then I realized that is what I need to do. And there's all these healthcare entrepreneurs out there. And my job is just kind of to extract you out of yourself and get you out of your own way, thinking it's the only way you're really adding value to the world is one you and one patient, and say, let's multiply what you're doing and get you out of the treatment room 40 hours a week, or, in my case, it was 60 hours a week. But let's get you out of that treatment room, and let's let other people just really magnify their talents and abilities, and you go and talk to more people and get the word out there. So it's kind of a shift that's evolved over time, but it's been a phenomenal transition for me, and I'm super pumped up every day. I wake up really stoked.
I love that. That's how we should all be, right? Like, from as long as I've known you, what has it been? Almost 7 years now, which is so great. Like, I've watched you take off, not even take off, but just make more room for the entrepreneur hat in your life, and even educator hat in your life. So I've seen you kind of bounce between healer, entrepreneur, business owner, teacher, and it's awesome to see how you work with that. I know a big place in your heart right now is educating other providers and healthcare entrepreneurs so they can get the most out of their life and out of their practice. So you founded Go Wellness with that love in your heart for this new space you've created. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about it?
So Go Wellness is, I kind of birthed it out of this need. I found that I would study with amazing mentors who I'm still really close with, but I found that I would just reach a ceiling. And I would kind of hit like the maximum, and I'd say, okay, there's something else out there. And it was after a while I said, you know what? I have my own philosophy, my own ideas, and I love innovation. And I just felt like I was kind of stuck in this mold. And I felt like, especially with acupuncturists and with my background, I just couldn't thrive while staying in those organizations. I'm still a member of these masterminds and groups and organizations, and I love my mentors. I love the community. But I said, we need a unique community that just really helps kind of fine tune some of these processes and systems and creates a little bigger of a mission and a goal and a lot more heart centered, because it's not ever about the money. It's not, the profitability is what keeps you in business. Money is the energy exchange, but it's really like I wanted to elevate the overall transformation of healthcare. And so I created Go Wellness. And then I just started hitting up my friends. I said, hey, I'm going to be doing my own training. I'd love to have you become a part of it. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Because, we'd help each other out. And it's just been the coolest thing. Like even this morning, I'm writing a couple impact filters and we're putting in some new systems and processes in the office. And I'm getting texts, from one of our clients and coaching them right there. And within like 5 minutes, we took them from like this kind of low mindset, low idea of what to do, confused. And all of a sudden I popped him right out of it. I'm like, I've been there. I know what that feels like. And so I just want to help, maybe help give shortcuts to healthcare providers and give them some better tools, but also give them some inspiration and help them avoid a lot of the mistakes that I've made on this journey.
Yeah, I feel like you do such a beautiful job with that. So Go Wellness is a big part of my life too. Like I'm a coach with you and a mentor, and I love that we can offer such holistic education. And when I say that, like we're working on patient care and the future of medicine. So functional blood chemistry, regen medicine, like we're teaching those tools. We're teaching all the tools of business management, marketing, how to connect with your patients, health coaching. And then we also get to hold that sacred space of just being a cheerleader and being like pulling them out of those spaces. And we've been through so much over the years in business, and we get to put our real world experience in our coaching and mentoring process. And it's awesome because then, in 5 minutes, you can pull someone out of a slump that they have been tackling for months. So it's pretty cool. So Go Wellness is an amazing group to be with. And we want to share a little bit of some of the knowledge we throw down for our clients. So Regan is the founder of this amazing method called the 3-4-5. So let's get into that, Regan. Let's talk the 3-4-5.
So if you're looking at like what's something you could do right away in your practice that would just transform the way you're thinking, and you could use this 3-4-5 method for the rest of your life and it's never going to wear out. I want to create systems that are like they have values as a foundation and principles as a foundation. So it's not like you have to keep reformatting your systems as you grow. So the 3-4-5 method, the 3 starts out as the 3-dimensional healing. And so what that is you've got to discover what's going on with an individual. And you do that by getting the right tests ordered, doing the right examinations, using the right equipment, ultrasound, x-rays, MRIs, whatever knowledge you can get. That's how you discover what's going on. So every patient who comes in gets the right tests. The second D is that's when you really start talking about this other level of healing, which is it's the treatment side. So that's where you deliver this incredible medicine. And the delivery side is where you may have acupuncture, you may have chiropractic, physical therapy, physical medicine, trigger point injections, stem cell injections, ozone therapy, whatever those treatments are. But that's where you really start delivering this amazing form of medicine. And then the final thing in that 3-dimensional is the mentoring and coaching. And so the mentoring and coaching is where you piece it all together. So 3D is basically the right treatments, the right testing, the right training and teaching. And then when you look at it, when you peel back that other layer, you say, well, from a clinical perspective, you want to treat the 4 causes and the 4 causes of stress. So one of those causes of stress, you got to look at physical traumas. And the second thing you got to look at are the emotional traumas. The third is the chemical traumas. And the fourth is traumas from infection. And that's where if you kind of put it in those 4 buckets, you can always, it's always a cycle and a lens you can imagine what your patients have been through. Because Annie, have you had physical trauma in your life?
Yes, I have. I have injured myself, broken bones, car accidents, you name it.
All those things, right?
Yeah.
How about emotional? You've never had emotional trauma, I'm sure. Never been stressed or
playing star all the time. No, definitely. I've been through some big parents divorce, like it's life. If you don't have an emotional trauma, I'm shocked,
Yeah.
honestly. But
I don't know a single human who doesn't have emotional trauma.
no.
Chemical trauma. Have you had some chemical?
Definitely. I think we all do in a certain respect, like we're being exposed to so many pesticides through food, molds,
Yep.
just, prescription medication. Sometimes that's
Yep.
no good. Drinking too much wine or something like that. That's
Right.
all a chemical trauma for the body, correct?
Correct. And then if you look at infections, I mean, have you been sick before? Have you ever had a viral infection, Lyme disease? I mean,
I had mono in high school, and so that's
yeah.
like something that carries with you your whole life. And then just a million colds or strep infections or things like that. Like, again, one of those things that's probably impossible to ever avoid unless you're the bubble boy.
Yep, exactly. So that's where, that's the 4 and the 3-4-5 method, because if you look at it, like you have this endless array of, like, don't just focus on one thing, but if you want to practice this holistic functional approach, really target all those 4 things. And then it goes into the 5 health activators. And so the 5 is actually, what are you doing to jumpstart the body, to get the body into this healing mode? And so that can be where you look at gut health and detoxification. And so if you're looking at really getting a person healthy, it always starts in the gut. Very, very simple to look at. The second one is going to be nutrition. So what are you doing to correct somebody's nutrition? Are you looking at their lab values? You're looking at their history. You're seeing what their diet looks like, because that's the building blocks of healing. And then the third one's going to be hormones. And so how can you activate the hormones, the fat burning hormones, the hormones like cortisol and melatonin that balance the circadian rhythms? Those are key. The fourth pillar is going to be genetics. So, genetics don't define us, and just looking at some of the simple things in genetics, like how well do you process dopamine? Can you let go of these emotions? How well do you detoxify? What's your inflammation level? So that's going to be key when looking at genetics. And then the final one is brain health. And so in brain health, you want to look at the 4 major neurotransmitters. And these are key because you have 2 neurotransmitters that you can pretty much get on your own. One is endorphins. And so how do you get endorphins? Like,
you get pumped up, you get excited, you get exercise is a great way, right?
Yeah, totally. You get that runner's high where you push through the pain, right?
Or just even high emotional moments, like
watching
a scary movie, like what's gonna happen? Or there's a lot of silly ways or fun ways to raise endorphins, even like being in love and being super excited and getting butterflies in your belly, like
Yeah. There's these cool ways of getting endorphins, and that's like acupuncture is. Endorphins, the number one thing is to mask pain. And so even getting acupuncture, your body says, oh, this is going to hurt. And then it's like, oh, it doesn't hurt. I feel fine. And then the second one is dopamine. And so dopamine is like that reward center, right? Yes. And it can also be addictive. Like we all get a dopamine rush when we hit our phones first thing in the morning and we're looking at Facebook or whatever. That's a dopamine rush, but an even better dopamine rush is when you accomplish something meaningful. So you and I will have a nice dopamine rush when this podcast is complete. We'll say, wow, that was awesome. And then we'll have this little dopamine, right?
I love it. I'll take it all.
Totally. Yeah, that's why we have statistics in all of our organizations, all of our practices. We say, don't play guessing games. Like you got to know where you're at. And dopamine can actually, when you have the 3 targets, like leads, your ROFs, new patients coming in, what's your revenue? That's a dopamine rush. And then, but those 2 you can get kind of on your own. You can go run and you can accomplish something and you can be like, that was badass. I just did something huge. But the other 2, which are more critical for your success, and this is what most healthcare entrepreneurs are missing, and that's serotonin and it's oxytocin. And so serotonin is that neurotransmitter that comes in when you actually have a group. You have this ability where you see other people succeeding around you and they build you up. It's like if you're watching somebody run a race, like in the Olympics, like you see Usain Bolt like break a world record in the 100-meter dash, and you're just like, oh, that was so awesome. So you get a hit of serotonin when you see another human do something amazing. Or when you see your patient have this health transformation, that's serotonin. And then the oxytocin comes when you have the physical touch, right? When you give someone a high five, you give them a hug, or I don't know. How do you like to get oxytocin, Annie?
Oh, I love me some hugs. I'll take one any day of the week. So yeah, hugs or just like meaningful exchanges with the people I love. Just like smiling at my husband when he comes home from work. I think that releases it for me because I'm like, oh, you're so cute. Connecting with the people you love too by stories and that human connection too really just helps raise that space for all of us.
It really does. And it's the difference. Like you can't really get a lot of serotonin or oxytocin over text, but like even talking like this, through a webinar or on the phone. And so that's the brain health. That's the fifth. So that's the 3, 4, 5 method. And I know I spent a lot of time on the brain side of it, but you can go back through each one of those 5 health activators and you'll start to see like, wow, there's so much wisdom you can just start compiling in your treatment plans just by putting those in. I know there's a lot of consultants out there. There's a lot of these like coaches who, they give you like, here's a service center, you put that in and you're going to generate 50K extra per month. And that's important, but you got to have the foundation. And so what Go Wellness has done is the same thing we built on at East West is using this 3, 4, 5 method. And it's a transformation. So not just looking at this health transaction where it's like, okay, you want to get your knee injected. Here, you pay me the money, I inject your knee. And it's like, no, let's give them a transformation where it's like, I'm going to inject your knee, but we're also going to provide follow-up care, and we're going to run labs on you, and you're going to have a coach that's helped mentor and a mentorship program and a curriculum where you're going to learn how to really take care of yourself so that you have your health independence. Because at the end of the day, we want people to not be dependent on us for their health. And so that's what we coach on.
Well, and I love that. And I love that about your medical model and what we coach on at Go Wellness is it's so much more, it's correction medicine, corrective medicine, lifestyle medicine. So it's so much more than the Western model, the current Western model offers us. You go get an injection and if you get a follow-up, it's like 6 months later and that's it. Like we want to transform lives, health, mindsets so people can live their best lives, which then transforms the future for all of us when we're all in this beautiful place of happiness and health and coexistence and, not to get too woo-woo, but it's beautiful how good health and the foundations of that, like we get to teach that, live it, share it, and then also implement that in our business practices as well. So Go Wellness. So we hold 4 major awesome events per year. And we've got one coming up June 27th through the 30th. It's going to be at Snowbird Resort. It's beautiful, just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. So Regan likes to gain inspiration from a lot of pioneers and forethinkers in medicine and other realms. So this module we're going to be teaching session 2 is inspired by Elon Musk. I want to hear a little bit about that, Regan.
Sure. Yeah, so we have one, our first event is, it's leaning on Kanye. So Kanye West is, he's a great artist, but he's a loudmouth. Right. Yeah. I mean, he gets the word out. Like you're going to know when Kanye's in the room, you'll know it. But most doctors, we just we close our mouth. And so I look at Kanye as like the extreme and most of us are on the other side. So be like Kanye and just get the word out. Really, have confidence in yourself because what you're doing is so transformative. It's amazing. We couldn't be in a better industry. Elon Musk is an innovator. I mean, Elon wants to colonize Mars. His whole goal is to help humanity survive. Any catastrophic, we could be taken out by a meteorite at any time. And we're kind of on this floating ship right now. We think, oh yeah, we forget. And humanity is something that's at the core of Elon Musk's innovations. He wants to, get rid of all the fossil fuels, so he created this luxury electric car called Tesla. And 10 years ago, he had 1 car. Now he's created 1 million cars, which is amazing. So just exponential. So we look at Elon Musk as like the innovation. So what I do is he's the metaphor. And so we bring in at our session 2, which will be our June event, we're going to be talking a lot about some of the health innovations. So biohacking is a big thing. I'm wearing my Aura ring right here. And so my Aura ring tracks like when I'm sleeping at night. How much REM sleep did you get, Regan? How much deep sleep? how active are you? What's your heart rate variability? So today I woke up and I was 89%. So it's like, okay, it's go time. You can push yourself as hard as you want. So I was able to do a really intense workout. That's just one little piece of technology. The new technologies that are coming out are like in regenerative medicine, like Elliot Spencer's got these novel ways of processing the birth tissue. Or in the functional side of things, you're going to hear a lot of innovation on, how to structure and use different protocols to help accelerate healing, like using NAD, using ozone therapy, using some of the vitamin injections, IVs. These are some insights that I use Elon just as an inspiration to me. Not his lifestyle. He works way too much, but with his SpaceX, with Tesla, he's just like this crazy thinker that's done amazing things. And he's not a status-driven entrepreneur. There's a lot of doctors out there that they're like, once I make this, I'm at that healthy $250,000 salary, I'm going to go and I'm cruising, they're golfing. Right. I'm not interested in working with people like that. I'm interested in working with the healthcare entrepreneur who, no matter how successful they are, they know right now is day one, I got another level to go. And so that's why Elon is our metaphor for session 2.
No, I love that, because it really suits your medicine and your style and our goal, which is to change medicine. And medicine isn't static. Health isn't static. It's always going to be changing. And if we don't change with it, we're just floating on the bottom of the pool. It's floating on the bottom doesn't make sense, but what I mean.
We drop to the bottom. Yes.
We think.
We think. That is, yeah.
We want to surround ourselves with these forward thinkers and these innovators who want to just keep pushing the envelope and seeking the best kind of care and medicine we can provide, and then opening the coolest clinics so we can get this medicine out there. It's pretty awesome. So I love that. So I have a funny question. If Elon said, Regan, do you want to go to Mars?
Yeah.
Would you go?
No. I mean, here's why.
Okay.
Here's why. I believe in discomfort. I believe in being a pioneer, but I love Earth, I love the oxygen that I breathe. In Mars, you're contained, and I'm a bit claustrophobic. And so I don't know that I could make that 30-year voyage just to get to Mars.
I know.
So if it was to the moon and I was I'll go check it out for a month, just because then I could come back and share my experience and I could do some health experiments that way. Yes. But
I feel you.
Would you go?
No way.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Well, here's the thing. I would think it'd be cool. I'm like you. I totally would want to go to the moon maybe, but I love Earth too. But let's say we had to go to Mars, so for those of you who don't know, Regan loves gangster rap.
Yes, I do.
I mean, who doesn't? So if you had to go to Mars and only had one rapper record to take with you, who would it be?
Ooh, I would have to choose Kanye West, Life of Pablo.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean, I know a lot of people say either Kanye was way ahead of his time or we don't understand it, but for some reason, that album, it was released in 2016 at this critical time in my life where I was just my confidence wasn't where it needed to be. I needed a boost. I needed just something to get me out of the way of my own self. And that album just does it for me. Every time I feel it, I just put that on and I just go with it. So
I love it when we find those things in life that just pump up our Reeboks and get us back to where we're going, and makes us feel in line and gets us in our stride. And it's beautiful. And that's what we want to do with Go Wellness and our guests, so we can just get people back in the stride, get our patients back in stride. So it's really awesome. So for those of you listeners interested in Go Wellness and our next event, please visit our website, which is just gowellness.com, or you can email us info@gowellness.com. We'd love to hear your comments. We'd love, your input, feedback. If there's any subject matter you want to tackle or anything you need some guidance on, hit us up. We're here for you, to educate you, to help you grow, to help you envision a better future for yourself. And anything else that you want to add, Regan?
No, I just, the Go Wellness community, I love it. It's just, I can't thank the people who have been a part of it since the beginning. I mean, Dan, Rudy, Gene, Danny, Dr. Ron. I mean, all those things are so phenomenal, and I love it. So I just really appreciate all the people in the Go Wellness community. And Annie, I really appreciate you.
Aw.
Like, no, and I say that from the heart because you've helped me grow East West into this beautiful organization, and it's better than ever. And now you're doing the same with Go Wellness. So for those of you who ever get a chance to interact with Annie, you've got like one of the most beautiful people on the planet who's also smart. You got a great heart, and you know how to get shit done in a way that's just like very organized. So I really appreciate you.
I'm kind of no nonsense. I like to just get shit done. It raises my endorphins when I have a challenge. I'm like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do it? Okay, then it's chaos and then it's beauty. So yeah, it's been the absolute pleasure of my life working in this organization and with all these amazing people who want to change the world. We spend so much time at work in our lives or you know, energy in that workspace. Why not do something that changes humanity and something that fuels your intellect, your creative space? Yeah, so I couldn't ask for a better organization to be part of, or a better boss to work for, or a better mentor. So thanks for pulling me through this awesome journey with you, Regan. It's been awesome. So anyway, well, anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I want to see all of you out there, whoever's listening to this, send it to people who need some inspiration. We're going to have a bunch of really cool guests, some of our Go Wellness community on. And so make sure you subscribe to the podcast, share it with your colleagues. Let's change healthcare in America. Let's transform it. Let's just make it where it needs to be. Let's elevate health in America, and that's just going to make everybody happier and wiser and funner to be around.
I love it. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening in today. This is such a powerful topic, and it's about damn time we started talking about it. So we'll be meeting with one of our amazing Go Wellness providers next week and hearing their journey and their goals toward the future and their vision of medicine by 2025. So thanks for listening in. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.